Washington County Commissioners Court is now in session, Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Commissioner Bullock.
Welcome. Good morning. Today we've got Deacon Al Prescott from St. Mary's Catholic Church to lead us in the invocation.
Well, can you feel the anxiety in the air, the excitement? Ready, just 2 days till the grand opening of Chick-fil-A. All right, yes. There's a bus here waiting to take you next Thursday because the line's going to be long. All right, yeah. Well, let's take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. You know, sometimes it feels as if we're in a rush to speed through the calendar throughout the year. Right now we got pumpkin flavored. Everything seems to be abundant around Labor Day. Christmas decorations pop up on the store shelves right after, long before Halloween costumes fly off the shelves. We're rushing through. But we're in the season of Advent. And it challenges the hectic pace of our lives and sometimes our determination march towards Christmas. Advent gives us a time to pray, to prayerfully remember Jesus' birth and the majesty of the incarnation while looking ahead to his second coming. And while we pray our Advent prayers, it can help us focus on the important liturgical season when it seems like so many forces pull up from our summer to Christmas Eve. Praying during Advent can help us keep in mind the true purpose of all of the build-up to Christmas. So let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, this Advent season, we especially are in need of peace. War rages on in our world. It impacts the daily lives of millions in different ways. This year, as much as ever, we need Jesus, the Prince of Peace, in our world and in our hearts. During Advent in 2023, we pray that Jesus transforms our world as we await his coming again. Amen.
Amen. Please join us in the pledge to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Item number 3, recognize and select Recognize select Washington County employees for their years of service. This is one of the funnest, best things we get to do each year. Recognize folks for their service, terms of service, especially when you see people with 25 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, and even 5 years. This is a wonderful time to recognize these folks. So we'll start off with the 25 year, and Ms. Milchek will give you a reward, and then the group that's 25 years will stand and have your photographs, and then we'll do the 20 and right on down the way. All right, for 25 years of service, Patricia Kuhlman. Robin Wellman. And Peggy Bland.
One, two, three. Perfect. Thank you.
Now for 20 years, Michael Brooks. Michael's not with us. Matthew Pieper. Amy Klusman. And Holly Johnson.
here. 1, 2, 3. Perfect, thank you.
15 years, Ricky Kapuscinski, Donna Schultz.
Maybe we should just stand up. You're okay.
And right here. 1, 2, 3.
10 years, Jay Petrash. Brian Taylor. Derek Estep. Jackie Watson. Demetrius Colvin. Gerald Waring. Helen Kendricks. Randy Shoppy. Michael McAnally. Deshauna Bird. That's all the 10.
Okay.
Smile pretty, Brian.
And over here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
In 5 years, Myra Guzman. Michael Coring. Marissa Daniels. Shannon Selden. Guillermo Guerrero. Judson Hall. Ryan Adams. Carl Bishop. Eric Broussard. And Clifton Ballard.
All right, ready? Perfect, thank you guys.
Thank you. Item number 4, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulations contracts. This morning we have 5 of those. There's a quinceanera, 8th grade dance, and 3 premier youth livestock shows.
I move upon the approval of pending Washington County Expo rental regulation contracts and authorize the county judge to sign.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of the annual and quarterly maintenance proposal between Washington County Sheriff's Office and Wilbanks Contractor Support, LLC. Mr. Gerald Waring has gotten these bids, and Captain, Chief, if I say anything wrong, correct me. Mr. Waring has asked that this agenda item be tabled. He is looking at some other bids and some lengthier bids. This is quarterly. He says if we've never done quarterly, he would prefer a 6-month bid. So anyway, he asked that this item be tabled.
Yes, at first, this was the only bid that we received, and now we had one that came in yesterday, so I would like to table it just to make sure that any other Boilermakers within the Tri-County area wanna, because there's not many of them, so.
Okay. And also, this contract had not been vetted through the county attorney's office.
No.
So it needs to be, so next time it's presented, it needs to go through there, correct? Okay, all right. Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
Don't we have to make a motion to table?
Yes.
Yeah, I make a motion to table the annual and quarterly maintenance proposal between Washington County Sheriff's Office and Wilbanks Contractor Support, LLC.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of a resolution adopting a commercial tax phase-in agreement between Washington County and 209 South Market LLC. Mr. Rosales?
Good morning, Honorable Judge and County Commissioners. On May 19th, 2023, Brenham, Washington County Economic Development received an application for a tax phase-in abatement from 209 South Market LLC, which has now been processed. This property is located in the downtown zone, and you may know it as the former 4-Star Concert Hall. Since purchasing it, the building owner has been working on modernizing and revitalizing the building. Some of the work includes masonry repairs inside and out, new fixtures, painting, tile work, new cabinetry, and electric and plumbing repairs. Total capital investment for this project is $185,000. The building owner, Adrian Schwartz, was not able to be here today due to a prior commitment, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think I forwarded everybody the documents. Are
Right.
there any questions?
No. I just want to point out that the total of the county's commitment over a 7-year period is $3,427, correct?
This is a smaller amount than some of the tax phase-ins that we've
Yes.
seen in the past. And because it is in the downtown zone, an extra step is added where it has to go through the Main Street Advisory Board to review as well, which they have done.
I don't have any questions, Ms. Rosales. I just noticed that we have, you've definitely been, I don't know what's changed, but something's changed because we're actually having some of these come to our Commissioner's Court now, whereas we hadn't had it in a while. So
Right.
I appreciate the hard work that you're doing to attract new businesses to Washington County.
It's exciting. As I said, I think I almost complained a little bit because it's administratively a lot of work to do. But at the end of the day, that means new business. They're growing. It's great for our
Ms. Shaw, do
community.
you have a question?
County's commitment to this again, I'm sorry, I missed the amount.
$3,700.
$3,700,
basically.
over a 7-year period.
It's actually $3,427.68.
There you go.
Okay, is there any other?
Okay,
Any
I
motion?
make a motion to approve the resolution adopting a commercial tax phase-in agreement between Washington County and 209 South Market LLC.
I second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you again, Mr.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Item number 7, discuss and possibly act to go out for bids for grazing leases on approximately 8,352 acres in Tom Green, which will be separated into 3 separate tracts for bidding purposes. Commissioners, I'm going to separate this out for just a little bit. This is in 3 tracts, and this is for grazing only. Everyone, this is only for grazing leases. The tract A is 2,874 acres, more or less. Tract B is 4,268 acres, more or less. Tract C is 1,562 acres, more or less, for a total of 8,704 acres. These will be separate bids. And we're requesting that the bids be due on December the 28th at 10 a.m. Bids be awarded January 9th at 9 a.m.
And when will the bid packets be ready?
They could be ready anytime. We don't know that exactly, but I would say the end of the week or the first part of next week. Yeah, that's,
And this is unusual for us. Usually we do hunting and grazing leases, and they're 5 years with a 5-year extension at the same price. And we've been advised by some individuals, specifically Mr. Keith Davis, the attorney that has worked with us on the solar project up there, that we possibly could maximize our income if we divided it into 3 tracts and did it for grazing only. And then we would like to come back maybe in 3 months and go out for hunting leases, so that we could maximize our income that way. And it'll be 2 separate, possibly 2 separate individuals or entities that have grazing and hunting leases. And of course, the grazing leases would take precedence and have the predominant ownership in the lease agreement. We are presently working on getting some boundaries done up on tract A, which is on the far right-hand side, and then B in the middle and C on the far left. And that's why we're hoping to have that information. It won't be a land description, but we're using some natural boundaries of roads and things of that nature. So we hope to, as the judge said, we're hoping to have that by the end of the week. Then we will publish it in the Tom Green County paper and the Washington County paper, and then we've also been advised to possibly put it in a livestock weekly periodical that's up there in Tom Green County, to hopefully get more interest and more bids. So that's what we're hoping to do. And if you have any other questions on the progress, please stop by my office or contact me. I'd be happy to help you with that. So, I'm sure the judge has all the answers too. So.
And we'll be also prorating the rent for January, because the bid won't be awarded until January 9th.
Right.
exactly.
And another thing that is a little unusual, I'm sorry, but that normally we were saying you can have it, you'll bid it for 5 years, and then the 5-year extension would be at the same price. We are putting some language in there to give us the option of increasing the price on the 5-year extension.
5-year
5-year extension.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing's for 10 years anymore.
Yes.
It's just
That's great.
unheard of.
Well, and the one thing we know is that inflation happens around us all the time, and currently we've had a great deal of inflation. I think what we're doing here is basically maximizing the benefit to the school district.
Right.
The county's duty is in charge of the school land, and it is our fiduciary duty to give as much revenue as we can to the public schools. That's what the goal is here. And by maximizing this, by splitting it up, we're hoping to maximize that revenue for the school district. Look, for years we've been giving the school district money, and we've been doing a lot of work to make all of this happen. It reaches quite a few of our offices in terms of what we do for the school district, but it is in the best interest of all of us, since this is the charge. Look, there's not very many counties that have this school land. It is a great benefit to this community that we have the opportunity. I believe there's 4 or 5 counties left that actually have school land that can benefit their school districts this way.
There's three. That
There's-
says there's three left. So we're one
So
of three.
they're dwindling. The easiest thing to do is to sell it and give the school district a one-time charge. That has not been the wish of the courts in the past, and I don't think it's the wish of the court now, since we gave them over $700,000 just this year, and over $1 million last year. So we are benefiting our schools in a way in which we are managing this money to the most efficient we can. So I want to thank every single person who's had to touch or be a part of this process, because it is an arduous process, and I know that it takes a great deal of work. So thank everybody who's doing all that, and thank the school district for being a great partner and understanding that this land is much better through the use of rentals than it is through the use of sale.
Just a one-time sale, yeah. Well said, Commissioner.
Another thing I'd like to add is that it's a very different land and very different land management practices than what we see here in Washington County. And we have benefited greatly by getting the advice and assistance of Mr.
Davis.
Mr. Davis. He's an attorney up there that deals in these types of situations, and he's been a great benefit to us.
28 and award January 9th. And you said 10 a.m. and 9 a.m.?
10 a.m. and 9 a.m., correct. Okay,
Okay.
is there a motion?
I make a motion to go out for bids for grazing leases on approximately 8,352 acres in Tom Green County, which will be separated into 3 separate tracts, as was shown here today, for bidding purposes. The bids will be due on 12/28 at 10 a.m. to the county clerk's office, and opened on January 9th at 9 a.m. in this courtroom.
I'll second.
Well, then, okay, you're not gonna open them on December 28th?
That
Oh,
would
I'm
be-
sorry, we're gonna open them.
They're
Open them on the 28th at 10
They're
a.m.
due and
10
open
a.m.
on the 28th.
Yes.
Okay.
And then on the 9th,
We will make
we
the
will
award.
award at 9 a.m. in this commissioner's court.
Correct.
Sorry, thank you for that correction.
And who
Okay.
seconded Bullock?
Bullock. Okay, motion been made and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of contracts for representation of indigent defendants for district court. This morning, those individuals being under the contract, Scott Ballard, Wesley King, Zach Koffel, Aaron Kleinschmidt, and Lee Richardson. Separate contracts for each of those.
I make a motion to approve the contracts for representation of indigent defendants for the district court of Scott Ballard, Wesley King, Zach Sufal, Aaron Kleinschmidt, and Lee V. Richardson.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of an agreement between Washington County and Washington County Chamber of Commerce. This agreement is for the Gateway Monument Agreement on the 105 entrance into Washington County. That's a long time coming. You know, the highway got moved, so we have to move our sign, basically. So, and of course, now it's on TxDOT right away, and it was quite a chore. So, anyway, would you like to elaborate some on
I
that?
would. I'd like to first comment on the fact that it's a long time coming. That is true. The first contract we got was between Washington County and TxDOT, and Washington County was gonna be held financially responsible by TxDOT for this monument, which was not my understanding, so I looked into that, and was incorrect. The chamber is going to pay for all of this, and that, so I drafted, this is step 1, in my opinion, of getting this done. Step 1 was to get this in writing with the chamber that they're going to pay for it, they're going to maintain it. Step 2 is now that we will be working with the TxDOT to get a correct contract between us and TxDOT. The reason we have to be in the middle in the first place is because TxDOT will not work with anyone other than another governmental agency, that being us. So now we will work, and hopefully it will move quicker, because TxDOT wouldn't allow us to make any changes on their contract because we didn't have anything to show them that somebody else was gonna be financially responsible. So now we do, and hopefully we can work with TxDOT to get the proper document between Washington County and TxDOT. So
And the only question I have in the contract is this, is under the responsibilities of the parties, section 3, it says the county agrees to furnish the signs and maintain the barricades and the things of that nature.
That's what I was told, yeah.
And we're going to do that through our engineering and development services.
I believe so.
So if
Right,
a
it's
contractor
right away.
contracts to do the work, then we're gonna be doing the erection of those. Because I was looking in this packet and it looks like a bid from some landscape architect.
That's
Yeah.
to cover the maintenance. It's with, I
Okay.
believe, Wise Landscaping.
Okay,
They are going to be responsible through the chamber
Okay.
for the maintenance, like mowing.
so that's the
and-
maintenance after it's erected.
After
Yes.
So,
erected,
so what this
Correct.
contract is going to do, where we have to put up the barricades, is during the construction.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's all.
I contacted Mr. Stoltz yesterday and sent him a copy of this document because I believe he will need to be aware of when that needs to happen, so all that needs to be directed to him.
Yes, thank you for taking care of that. It was on my list to do today after
Yeah.
it was approved.
All right.
so.
Okay.
I move upon the approval of an agreement between Washington County and the Washington County Chamber of Commerce.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, discuss a formal notice for temporary above-ground lay-flat water line utility installation for Magnolia Oil and Gas Operating LLC along Shaneman Road, Sandtown Road, and Cather Road, Precinct 4.
Yes, good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is a notice for a lay-flat line over off of Cather, Sandtown, and Shaneman Road. They've been out there quite a few times. This particular installation is going to take place over the course of about 3 months. It was installed last week, so it is actively going on, but I just wanted to give notice that it is moving forward.
Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Item number 11, discuss and possibly act upon an oil and gas development permit for Watt Energy LLC on Gerke Road, Precinct 3.
Yes, this is an oil and gas development permit application that was submitted from Watt Energy. I know you guys have seen a few of these come through in the area. I don't currently know if there's going to be more coming down the plate. I believe this is the last one that I've heard of. That said, they can always submit more as they see fit. Now, keep in mind with these development permit applications, this is for road use to that particular site. We actually cannot deny for the action will develop the site itself, but we can restrict use of the public roadways for the construction process. With that in mind, they do have their agreements, their bonds in place. This particular stretch of roadway is actually synonymous with the Yonner-Keeker permit that was issued a few weeks ago. It's only about 1,000 foot north of Gerke from the rest of that continuation of route. So we've already videoed that additional 1,000 foot for the existing condition, and we're ready to go.
Very good.
And I want to thank the news media because we requested that the news media explain this so that people understand that we're not leasing people's property out for them. We're just protecting our roadways. So I want to thank you for that. I have not read the article, but I will. So I make a motion to approve the oil and gas development permit for Watt Energy LLC on Gerke Road in Precinct 3.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, discuss and possibly act upon a resolution authorizing contribution of funds to Community Development Block Grant Mitigation Method of Distribution application administered through the Texas General Land Office for the County of Washington.
So first off, I just want to go ahead and give a little bit of background on this one. This is for the CDBG MITMOD grant that was all discussed in the past. With this one, we had our application in July. There's been some RFIs that have come through, mainly just for all kind of record-keeping purposes and to make sure everything is going correctly. I do want to introduce Ms. Lenore Kaiser. She is our GrantWorks representative working through the grant administration, just to give a little bit additional detail behind this.
Hello, Your Honor and Commissioners. So we submitted this application back in early July. It's for a little over $1 million is an allocation. The communications that have been coming from GLO up to this point are just clarifying questions, some new regulations that are coming down from HUD. So we've been going through that, and one of the things they wanted to see, because during the application phase they didn't require a resolution, but because there is match in this application for acquisition of a bit of a parcel, They want to see the resolution cover the match portion, just to show that you're committed to providing that. In the application, it's located on North and South Myersville Road, just in that little binge where it frequently floods. It's going to be elevated and shifted a little bit. To do so, there is going to be a corner of a parcel being acquired, and right now it's estimated $100,000. I set it up in the resolution here that if it doesn't spend the full $100,000, that $100,000 could go into construction at that point. So you are committing $100,000 either way, but it could go into building the road as well.
And just to give a little additional background with this one, this is synonymous with the budget discussions we had with this, that the construction costs and land acquisition were more than the actual grant itself,
Right.
but the grant being approximately $1.2 million is substantially the portion that's anticipated for this project.
So earlier you used an acronym, and for the benefit of everyone, RFI, explain that to
thank you very much,
the
Commissioner.
audience.
Sorry,
Because,
kind of get used to using the same thing. So RFI is request for information.
yes, and I just want to make that certain so that everyone knows that that's what that is, RFI. The government likes to use acronyms for everything.
CDBG, MIT,
And
MIB.
the common person doesn't even know what they're talking about sometimes. So I just wanted to make that note. I also want to say thank you to the COG board for changing the method of distribution,
Yes.
because if they would not have changed the method of distribution, we would not have gotten this $1 million. We would have gotten something substantially less. And it changed everything for us in this project. So thank you so much to the COG for understanding that projects can't get done for a portion of the money. We need the majority of the money. So I just wanted to give that, because that was a long process as well, going through back and forth with the Council of Governments to make certain that we got the full amount. So
Well, we appreciate y'all's work as well, because we know that y'all were representing us on that COG and fighting that battle. So I know Commissioner Custer and I are very excited about this project, seeing that Myersville connects our precincts on that side, and this has been a long time concern, so we're looking forward to it.
It's a lot shorter going to Chapel Hill that way than going around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A few miles.
Well, it's a lot safer, you know, just
Safer.
people, a lot of cars have gone over just recently.
Eventually,
Yeah.
that'll all be paved through there one of these days, hopefully.
I make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing contribution of funds to Community Development Block Grant Mitigation Method of Distribution, application administered through the Texas General Land Office for the County of Washington.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I also want to say thank you to you, Mr. Stoltz, for working on this project. You've done a lot of it.
Yes.
This has been a long drawn out.
Thank you, Lenore, as well.
Yeah.
for doing
Yes.
that.
How many years have we worked on this now?
So this was
Well, we
actually an
started this
application.
before,
I believe so.
with Ross.
So this was in 2022 was actually the was intended to move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Now it's actually been quite a bit of a
We went through the
time with
issues with LMI,
the
everything
distribution
else.
methods
Yeah.
that actually pushed it into 2023. But we're very excited for this project.
Very good. All
And the
right.
money from this grant came from Hurricane Harvey, correct?
So it's a little bit of a mixture of different funds, but yes, a very significant portion came after Hurricane Harvey was the distribution of those funds.
And when was that?
2017. 2017.
I actually think there was some remaining funds from previous floods that was tied into this as well.
As well.
Yeah.
So
You're
it may
exactly
be
right.
even-
It's not just Harvey. It was
Correct.
money that wasn't used. and going up the ladder.
Unbelievable.
Okay, item number 13, discuss and possibly act upon a subdivision variance request for land division fronting Long Point Road in the James Cox subdivision, A-36, Precinct 3.
Yes, so this is an application for a subdivision variance request for the plating process. This is a particular piece of property that has 2.158 acres along Long Point Road just south of 390. The particular landowner would like to split this into two parcels, one being the remainder, which would be what's the existing tract just north of there, where there's an existing home on it, which would be 1.158, and then the southern portion, which is 1. Now, we have done the review through the environmental process. The existing septic field, drain fields are not overlapping. That has all been approved. From their review, and from the dimension standpoint for the rest of the subdivision requirements, they meet all of the subdivision requirements in terms of minimum lot size, depth, and frontage. They do have community water, which does allow the 1 acre to move forward. In conformance with the rest of the variances that Commissioners Court has approved in the past with 4 acres or less, I would like to recommend approval of this particular variance.
Are there any questions, Commissioner? I make a motion to approve the subdivision variance request for the land division fronting Long Point Road in the James Cox subdivision A36, precinct 3.
I'll second.
Motion been made, second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14, presentation of Engineering Development Services Quarterly Report. Mr. Stokes.
Yes, so this is our quarter 4 report, so end of year report. Approximately, I guess we have 1 month ago, but we're pretty darn close, so I'll give you up to the beginning of December. We'll go ahead and jump straight in. I'll go ahead and give you some of the basics with this one. So with the septic permits that we have given out through the year, we are at 302 to date. There was a big uptick from Q1, Q2, Q3. There's been a slight turn down over the past couple months. I think a lot of what we're going to be seeing is a lot of this turbulence that you're going to see on the map here, just given the fact that the big jumps, the big spikes of the subdivisions. Every time we have a big subdivision that is has their infrastructure complete, they move as quick as they can, and generally you'll get 10, 15 on a larger subdivision right off the bat, and then it kind of has a slower tick down over that longer period of time. For our addresses that have been created to date for this year, we are at 287. Once again, I think we've got a couple subdivisions that are going to be coming relatively soon for acceptance into the first year maintenance phase, which will start their building process, which is probably going to get a little bit busy at the very end of this month as well as the beginning of next year. Going into the subdivision status changes, this is a overall list of all statuses for recent subdivisions as well as new subdivisions that are going to be coming down the plate. With this one, some of the changes from Q3 are going to be, we have had a submittal for Porch Swing subdivision, which is over off of Old Phillipsburg Lane. It has not been brought forward to the court yet. It is currently in review. Sweet Estates subdivision, which is 4 lots, which has currently been submitted and in design and review, which you will see probably within the coming month. Bluebonnet Hills replat, that's going to be coming soon as well. It's just a modification of existing 6 lots that is going to be combining those into 2. So that's going to be a replat that's going to be coming through. Gates Crossing was approved recently, is in construction. We've been doing inspections on this particular subdivision. It is a private subdivision, however, that infrastructure does need to meet county standard, and we've been working through with their submittals as well as inspections in the field, and it's been progressing quite well. Sunset Hills, this subdivision was recently put into the first year maintenance period, and as well as Spring Creek Estates Section 3. So that was maybe within the past month. Both of those have come through. And then we are on our final inspection periods for 3 other subdivisions that are currently in their construction phase, which are Brenham Hills, Washington Heights, and Orchard Oaks. Final inspections have been done for each one of those 3. We are on a mixture of punch lists as well as one of these, which is Orchard Oaks, we are actually going to be bringing to Commissioners Court next week. So be prepared for that we do have some more that are going to be finalizing before end of year. Going into materials and specific.
Hold on just a minute, Mr. Stoltz. In the subdivision status, there's a statement that says that the consensus is that the primary consumer of the products that are being created are retirees and wealthier residents that typically purchase the lots without financing and thus avoiding interest rates. Where are you grabbing that information from?
So we talk very in detail with our developers, right? And the developers are in close communication with their builders. So really that's always kind of a communication point for us is really what is the trajectory for the long haul. I don't really care who the person that buys the house, but if I know who buys the house, I have an understanding maybe to somewhat of how the current market is going to affect us down the road. Right. So whenever we're looking at a lot of the particular landowners for these new lots coming into play, and if they're selling lots in more of the Houston area, Harris County area for the retiree standpoint, one of the big things that I think has kind of deterred development a lot has been the interest rates. We went essentially from the 2.5% interest rate all the way up to 6, 7, 8 now. That's going to deter a lot of builders, landowners to go forward. However, if you are going to be selling lots in wealthier areas, Harris County, Houston, and you're going to retire, and you do have that capital available, then at that point, interest rates really aren't as much of a problem for you because you're really not going to be financing very much. And really what I get into that is I think that what we're seeing is not going to be a slowdown. I think it may have slowed down very slightly, but the vast consumer base that we have currently in the vast majority of our subdivisions, all the developers that we speak to says they're looking for any land that they can for a feasible rate that they can turn a subdivision on. That's not meant to discourage or say yay. It's just a factual basis that I want to push over to the Commissioners Court to let you know kind of a little bit of the market that we're currently in and how it's going to affect this development in the future.
Well, and for us, it's about economic development.
Right.
Correct.
We hear the term retirees, our
Well,
economic
that-
development policies have to fit in with creating jobs for people to live and work here. So I just wanted to kind of know what your take was on that. That's interesting to hear that information. So thank you for.
Yes, sir. So going on to material costs and availability, we obviously had our end of year, so we are wrapping up our bid contracts or our material contracts for 2023. We recently went out for advertisement for 2024. In the next a little over a week, we're going to be receiving those bids. We're very hopeful. Some of the communication we have seen is that there is going to be a little bit of an increase, as you would expect. Based on what we've heard, it shouldn't be as big as the last few years, but until we receive those bids, I definitely don't want to promise you anything. Everything is word of mouth at this point. But I do want to give you a heads up that we do have those bids out, and we're going to be receiving them shortly. A little bit of the procurement process for our base, which is our vast majority of our materials that we do acquire. In 2022, we acquired 27,156 tons. In 2023, you'll notice that we acquired 45,294 tons, which is a very large increase. I want to just give a little bit of a heads up as to why we had so much more base material that went out for 2023 in lieu of 2022. 2022 specifically was a very difficult year to actually acquire materials. Availability was a very difficult aspect. Price went up in 23, but availability has actually been a little bit easier this year for us. Along with that, one of the things that we've tried to transition in terms of our paving process is we were doing a lot of level up, we were doing a lot of overtop seal. This year we really tried to focus quite a bit on full base reconciliation or reconstruction. With this one, we went all the way through, mixed in brand new base, a lot of it we put in new lime. The whole point is that if we do have good structural integrity underneath these roads, then we're going to have a longer period that we're going to actually have to mess with these roads. We're going to reconstruct them, as well as when we do, we can actually keep a lot of the base material that's in place at that point and just come back with new paving. So it's an investment for the long haul, and it's definitely something that we really want to push quite a bit for the future is to really fortify our road base. Our wrap, I just wanted to go ahead and throw that one out there that we did make a change at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023 with using recycled asphalt pavement millings, primarily from the city of Brenham, but really we use them from anywhere, regarding the driveway materials. Now, it's actually been very successful, but we've saved from the cost differential of that a little over $10,000, and so we've been very happy to see that change has been widely accepted and saving the county a little bit of money. From the 2023 paving progress, we have completed 28.2 miles of paving. Now, keep in mind, this is not flex-based roads, this is not gravel, this is purely paving process. The majority of that, once again, is full-depth reconstruction. Some of this is going to be new chip seal over the top of existing level up, but the majority of this is full depth reconstruction. We do have a little bit of level up that we're going to be finishing up this month, but we have reduced that to a great extent. Once again, the price went up quite a bit, and then number two, sometimes it's just not a good idea to put good money on top of bad. So it's worked very well in some areas, and some areas that it didn't. So we're really trying to focus that to a more isolated areas in terms of what we're using that level up for. Moving on, just want to give a little heads up that the equipment cover, the draft contract for sealed bids is ready to go. We are ready to move forward with that one, pending a legal review, which I should be sending over to you guys this week. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that it's coming down the plate. The equipment purchases that we have this year, we have received the chip spreader and oil distributor truck for in-house paving next year. So that was our very niche equipment. We have a few dump trucks that are going to be ready to come in to start that practice, but the fact that we have these two, I'm very excited that we've got our primary equipment to start that in-house paving. With oil and gas permits, we received 7 in 2022. Mid-year, we are up to 11 to date in 2023, especially 11 with the new one that we just approved a minute ago. And 4 of those were in Precinct 3 and 7 were in Precinct 4. None were in Precinct 1 or 2 to date. The bridge advanced funding agreements with TxDOT, wanted to give a little heads up on those projects. Roberts Road Bridge is open. There's a couple small items they have to do, just really some potholes nearby that need to be filled in over there. But it is open and it is complete in terms of the structural integrity of the bridge. So we're very excited to see that one wrapped up. With the 5 that we went into an agreement in 2022 with TxDOT, we have received bridge design, or I guess crossing design, for 3 of those at Mockamel, Bossy, and Roberts Road. I'm sorry, not Roberts Road, Durking Road. And we have put a few comments out for during the review phase of that. We're working with them to make some slight adjustments from the design, as well as we've started the process of right-of-way and easement acquisition with those. So we're going to be reaching out to landowners here in the next, within the next month. With Artesian Park Lane Bridge, we have not received a design yet, but we have met with the designer as well as the TxDOT representative that's going to be the project manager on their end, really to kind of do some preliminary design to kind of figure out the best way to move forward with that one. That's a one-way in, one-way out, which obviously always produces a little bit of a challenge for bridge reconstruction. But we've got some good ideas, and they're currently in the design phase with that. Ronderman Road, that one's still yet to be submitted, but we're expecting that one shortly because it is in their design phase that they're going to be working up. The EMPs, which are our contribution for these advanced funding agreements, we have completed all for the 5 that are going to be coming in currently in design. For the Wonder Hill Road culvert improvements, we have that set for March of next year, so we're going to be expecting that. We will have to rent some additional equipment as it's a pretty substantial project over there, but we're already getting that set up. It's going to have to be an excavator. Our backhoe is fantastic, but with some of the larger construction, we will have to rent a little bit larger equipment for it. Our staffing, wanted to give you a little heads up on that we have 2 new hires for equipment operators, and then we actually have 3 offers extended currently. We're very excited to be full staff with our equipment operators, so we can really jump into the new year with a head start on that. Our CDBG grant, the MITMOD, obviously we just went through the resolution on that. Lenore and I are working through our RFI, request for information responses, and those are going to be due this week. We're going to be wrapping those up and sending those in. I don't expect really any kind of major concern with that, but I just want to give you a heads up that we are making some progress finally with this. And then just from a miscellaneous standpoint, the Sawmill Bridge is being redecked currently. We've went ahead and ripped that up. The condition underneath was surprisingly, not really surprising, we were expecting it, but in good shape. So we already have those new deck boards being installed. They'll be ready by the end of the week, and we're excited to have that one knocked out. Along with it, all new permits are now online and fillable in PDF form for convenience. So those are ready to go, so you don't have to print them out anymore. You can just fill them in, do your e-signature, and send them in. Yeah, it was a nice little convenience for the public that we're very happy to see. As well as we've just introduced a new dashboard for subdivisions. So if the public is interested in seeing the status of subdivisions as they move forward, there's a dashboard with GIS on our Road and Bridge webpage where they can go to and they can see the existing subdivisions and their status and their location. It will not give a full detail in terms of the actual plat and construction plans, but at least it gives an idea of where it's at, the existing boundaries, and the lot size. So we're kind of excited to reveal that one as well. That concludes at least my presentation. Is there any questions?
I've already asked mine, Mr. Stoltz, but I thank you for putting this together. I also, we did not go over this, but all of you put the equipment list in there, the vehicle list, and I appreciate that. That gives us a heads up on where we're at with that, so that we don't have sticker shock when you come to budget. So
Yes, sir.
definitely appreciate that, because none of that equipment is cheap. I also like that the work orders are in here. I go look at them from time to time, believe it or not, but it's good to have them in your report.
Absolutely.
Very well done.
Thank you very much.
Let's see, there's a lot.
Item number 15, discuss and possibly act upon the approval to renew the bond for Washington County Engineer Wesley Stoltz. I guess we're
Yes.
gonna keep him around.
Yeah, please
Might as well.
renew this.
Okay.
It's all ready to go.
I make a motion to approve to renew the bond for Washington County Engineer Wesley Stoltz.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 16, discuss and possibly act upon the approval of accounts payable.
This week, we have a total of $271,275.57 in bills. Not anything gigantic that sticks out. It's a lot of repairs, as always.
We're pretty close to the end, though, Mr. Kramer.
We
So,
are.
Nobody,
Couple more weeks.
nobody really needs to spend
Is
any money.
the GovOS one isn't on here. Are we trying to get that on next week's?
If y'all will approve it, yes. I've got it with me today.
Which one?
GovOS.
Hotel Motel.
I'll move upon the approval of accounts payable.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 17.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned. We will reconvene in a workshop in about 10 minutes.
It's not executive.